Welcome to Luke Vu, PhD. I'm a psychologist here in Maroubra, Sydney, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the questions that comes up when people are thinking about recovery. One of the most often ones I hear is the question of, why can't I just stop? And sometimes you might actually pose this to an affected loved one, in the sense of, why can't you just stop? Like, I don't get it. It's clearly ruining your life, so on and so forth. And that's a loaded question. It's actually, if it was easy to stop, then you'd assume that people who have the skills and the motivation, and they would solve that problem quickly. It's just simply people don't just stop. Typically, when they come in through the practice anyway, is that most people have made genuine attempts to control their use one way or the other, and they're often unsuccessful. And these setbacks are exhausting, and sometimes they blame themselves, or they blame lack of willpower. And recovering from addiction actually isn't easy. And there's three things that people don't quite think about when it comes to just stopping. So one is that addiction is really an interaction between several different domains. We're talking about the environment you're in, where you're living, what you're exposed to. We're also talking about the psychology of the individual and how that interacts with their environment. We're talking about the physiology. How long have they been ingrained in these patterns? Have they resulted in physical and neurological and all sorts of biological changes that make it tricky, and also habits. So some of these patterns that we develop as a result of repeated use gets in the way, and it gets in the way because they're so ingrained. We practice them hundreds and hundreds of times. If we're talking about a gambler, how every time you gamble is actually reinforcing that habit. It's making it stronger. If we're talking about substance use, it's the same thing. If we're talking about digital addictive substances or digital stimuli, gaming and porn, like every single time you use it, it actually makes the habit harder to break because it's one repetition stronger. So that's one thing to really think about. Now, the second thing that makes it difficult to just simply stop is that recovery requires deliberate practice of rewiring and modifying thinking patterns. And it's our thoughts and the habit and the pattern of our thoughts that lead to substance use or digital addiction that really requires a lot of thoughtful work. And so sometimes we fall in the trap of ignoring the fact that takes a lot of work, and we try to essentially self-talk our way out of it by saying, "Oh no, I can do this. And that works for some people, and it doesn't work for others. And it's about knowing when it doesn't work, and what other tools are available to you. Now, number three is that recovery means the development of certain skills, and these skills require lifelong practice. And that's in order for it to just remain effective. So in therapy or through your self-help, or if you're going through like an online program, you'll develop certain skills, behavioral and cognitive skills, and they require lots of practice. So those are the three things that makes it very difficult to simply just stop. And so it's really important to think about that these skills to recover from addiction, they're not built into you. It's like riding a bike. You actually have to learn how to do so, and with increased practice, you get better at it. And the better you get at riding a bike, or the better you get at recovering, the more resilient and more robust these effects are going to be. So bottom line is that you got to make a plan. You got to make a plan to put deliberate effort into yourself, into developing skills, or to modify your environment to get the kind of support that you need. And some of this support can be professional, and it can be through friends and family willing to support you in this journey. And remember that every attempt at recovery is a deep learning lesson. It allows you to know the limits of your skill. And so if you find yourself repeatedly finding the limits of that skill, well, it might be time to level up. And talking to a professional might be able to help you get through that. And so if you have a GP or a psychologist, psychiatrist, there's a lot of avenues to help you push through some of the barriers when it comes to developing and acquiring the skills to recover from addiction. So hopefully that was helpful. Other than that, if you like what you see here, please like, subscribe and share. And have a great day. Happy recovery.